Incredible 8-year-old girl stuns courtroom, defending her mother in an unbelievable life-changing fight for survival. The rain poured down like tears from the heavens, matching the heartache brewing inside a humble trailer nestled in a quiet Midwestern town. 8-year-old Lily sat on the worn-out couch, her small fingers tightly gripping a frayed stuffed bear. She could feel the tension in the air like static electricity. Something was off. Her mother, Sarah, had just come home from one of her long shifts, her face drawn and tired. But the pain in her eyes was what sent a shiver down Lily's spine. "Sweetheart," Sarah's voice broke the stillness. "We need to talk." Lily watched as her mother took a deep breath, her voice trembling slightly. "The landlord, he's evicting us." Those words, heavy and cruel, hung in the air like smoke. Lily's heart raced. The world around her blurred as the warmth of their close-knit family began to crumble. Her mother tried to muster a smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. In that moment, Lily felt an unfamiliar fire ignite inside her, a fierce desire to protect the only family she had. As the days turned into a whirlwind of preparation for the court hearing, Lily absorbed every ounce of strength from her mother's encouragement. Sarah worked day and night, determined to battle the cruel man who sought to uproot their lives. But despite Sarah's efforts, doubt crept into the folds of Lily's heart. She saw the stress etched on her mother's face and felt a twinge of fear deep within her. On the hearing day, the courtroom felt vast and cold. Rows of community members sat quietly, each one aware of the uphill battle Sarah faced. As the case unraveled, frustration filled the air like a thick fog. Sarah's lawyer made his case, but the words fell flat against the ruthless landlord's smirk. Lily felt as if the walls were closing in, despair washing over her mother's shoulders. This was not just a battle for their home, it was a fight for dignity. Then, like a bolt of lightning, Lily stood. She felt the weight of everyone's gaze as she approached the stand. A sweet child's face, mired in the seriousness of grown-up troubles, but there was strength in her tiny frame. The judge raised an eyebrow, intrigued. With a quivering voice but unwavering spirit, Lily began to speak. "Don't you see? My mom works so hard." Her small fists clenched, her resolve hardening. She spoke passionately, recounting evenings spent at the kitchen table, laughing over burnt dinners, and nights when Sarah held her close, whispering dreams of a better future. "We're a family, we love each other. We don't deserve this." The atmosphere shifted, hardened hearts thawing with disbelief. As she recounted moments of sacrifice, the room shifted. Murmurs rippled through the crowd, eyes softened, and even the judge seemed momentarily affected. Lily felt this warmth seep into her bones, igniting her hopes further. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." But then, Lily caught a glimpse of her mother's face. The glimmer of hope dimmed, replaced with shadowed worry. Doubt whispered at her heart, tightening its grip. What if it wasn't enough? What if their dream, a place to call home, slipped away? As silence fell in the courtroom, the air felt electric with anticipation. Lily stood firm, her heart thumping like a drum, ready to fight, to believe. Even as the judge lifted the gavel, declaring that everyone was waiting, she knew their fate hung on a fragile thread, a decision that could either ignite their dreams or plunge them into despair. Would they be side by side, still fighting? Or would this moment shatter the love and laughter that had defined their humble lives? The gavel fell hard against the wood, breaking the silence that enveloped the courtroom. Lily's heart sank, the sound echoing in her ears like the tolling of a bell, signaling an uncertain fate. She could feel time stretching, every breath becoming an eternity. The eyes of everyone in the room turned to the judge, a man with deep wrinkles of experience etched upon his face. He looked at Sarah, who sat quietly, a mix of hope and fear swirling in her chest. "Lily," Sarah whispered, her voice barely a breath, but filled with encouragement. "You did great, sweetheart. No matter what happens, I'm so proud of you." But pride couldn't quell the nauseating fear simmering in Lily's stomach. They were all waiting for the words that could either set them free or lock them in despair. In that moment, the courtroom became a living thing, filled with silent anticipation. The crowd was entranced by Lily's courage. Just as hope flickered within her, she saw the landlord smirk, a twisted satisfaction in his eyes, and a pulse of anger surged through her tiny frame. She wanted to shout, to tell everyone how hard Sarah worked, how many sacrifices they made together just to survive. The judge cleared his throat, returning the room to solemn stillness. After thorough consideration of the testimony presented today, he began, his voice steady, "I must weigh not just the legality of the eviction but the moral implications that come with it." Lily's heart raced again, each word striking her like a heartbeat. She watched the judge intently, searching for a sign. The room held its breath, a collective exhale caught, suspended in time. Would he see the truth? Would he understand? "Ms. Jones," the judge continued, "the evidence indicates this eviction is not only a technical misstep but an eviction based on personal grievances. The law upholds the right of a tenant, and I believe your actions here today warrant reconsideration." A buzz erupted in the courtroom, and emotions flooded the air. Relief washed over Lily like a warm blanket as she glanced at her mother. Tears shimmered in Sarah's eyes, a mix of disbelief and hope rising within her. This was the moment they had dreamed of, but then the judge raised a hand. "While I am willing to put a temporary hold on this eviction, I must also remind you that this matter will be revisited. You must seek counsel and find a way to negotiate an agreement." Silence fell heavy again. It wasn't a full victory, but it also wasn't defeat. They had time, a small reprieve. But with that time came pressure. What would they do now? Sarah reached over, squeezing Lily's hand tightly. "We can breathe," Sarah said, a soft smile breaking through, her eyes glistening with relief. "We have a chance." Lily returned the smile, but uncertainty still lingered. They had a chance, yes, but how would they fight? The looming question hung heavy between them. As the courtroom began to empty, whispers of community support filled the air, people inspired by Lily's courage. The challenge was larger than themselves now, it was a movement, a collective heart beating for justice. Outside, the rain had stopped, and as they stepped into the fresh, damp air, a rainbow burst through the clouds. It felt like a sign, a glimmer of hope reflecting their struggles. But just as they began to take a breath free of doubt, Lily caught the eye of someone lurking in the shadows who could change everything again. "Mom, someone's watching us," she whispered, suddenly chilled. What if this was just the calm before another storm? Would their fight truly be over, or had they just entered a new chapter of struggle that they hadn't prepared for? The hope of family burned bright within her, but the shadows loomed larger, waiting for their next move. Lily's pulse quickened as she focused on the figure hidden in the darkness. Her mother's protective hand tightened around hers, and together they stepped into the light, leaving the warmth of hope behind for the chilly uncertainty gripping her heart. "Let us not stir the pot, okay?" Sarah said, her voice steady despite the fear creeping into her eyes. "We'll go home and talk this over." But as they headed towards the parking lot, Lily couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The shadows felt alive, whispering doubts and fears into her mind. She glanced back, but the street was empty. Had she imagined it? "Mom?" Lily's voice trembled. "What if? What if he tries to come back? What if he finds out we're still here?" Sarah sighed, brushing away the worry from Lily's face with a gentle touch. "We'll always be ready. Remember what I said, we don't give up. We have a little time now." Let's turn this into something good. A flicker of determination sparked in Lily's chest. Do you think we can really do it? Find a lawyer and fight him? For real? I do, Sarah said, her tone resolute. We'll get help. We have our friends, our community. It's not just about us anymore. And what you did in there? You've already started a change. As they pulled into their driveway, the familiar sight of their cozy, humble home embraced them. It was a sanctuary filled with memories and laughter, yet now it also felt like a battleground. Inside, the walls seemed to whisper promises of safety, but Lily saw them through a lens of urgency. They had to act quickly. That evening, with a worn-out laptop perched at the kitchen table, Lily and Sarah began searching online for legal aid. Every word read became a step towards empowerment, and as they scrolled through websites, a sense of purpose enveloped them. That night, they made lists contacts for local organizations, potential lawyers, even community support groups. The whole time, Lily felt a flicker of courage grow within her. But her eyes kept wandering to the window. The streetlights cast long shadows, and every rustle outside sent chills down her spine. Mom, do you think we should call someone? Like the police? Sarah paused, considering. Just one more day. Let us see how things settle. We don't want to panic. Trust in our fight and remember what you did in that courtroom. It stands. Yet the sense of unease wouldn't leave. The world had changed since that day in court. They weren't just fighting for their home anymore, they were fighting to be seen, to stand as defenders against a system that had let them down. As they settled into bed that night, Lily stared at the ceiling, a soft glow from the stars outside casting shadows against the room. She could still feel the hush of the courtroom, the weight of all those eyes on her. But now, she was not just a daughter, she was a warrior. The following morning brought a renewed sense of urgency. They had to act before the landlord tried to strike again. Lily shot out of bed, a fire in her belly. Today would be different. They headed to the local community center where they learned about a tenants' rights workshop happening that week. Mom, we should go. They can help us. Lily exclaimed, excitement spilling from her. Yes. That's exactly what we need, Sarah replied, her grin widening. But as they made their plans, another shadow loomed on the horizon, deeper than just a landlord. The lurking figure had revealed itself, and suddenly their fight felt larger than they had ever anticipated. Lily, are you ready for the next step? Sarah asked, her tone shifting to one of seriousness. With a deep breath, Lily knew this was just the beginning. I'm ready. As they prepared for uncertainty and change, Lily couldn't shake the sense that there were bigger battles ahead, battles they weren't sure they were ready for. Just then, a loud knock echoed through the house, making them jump. What was that? Lily's heart raced again. The air grew thick, the tension almost tangible. Together, they took a step towards the door, daring to confront whatever awaited them. What if this sudden visit changed everything again? Lily stood frozen, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. The sound of that single knock reverberated through the house, scattering the thoughts of upcoming workshops and pending battles like brittle leaves in the wind. She exchanged a glance with her mother, an unspoken question shared between them. Should we open it? Lily whispered, the uncertainty lacing her voice. Sarah's brows furrowed, her instincts kicking in. Let me check first. She moved forward cautiously, peering through the peephole. The figure on the other side brought a new wave of dread. Who is it? Lily asked, her breath caught somewhere between fear and anticipation. It's Mr. Steele, Sarah murmured, the name sending a chill down Lily's spine. He was the landlord, the man they dreaded more than anything. She could feel the room closing in, her hands clammy against the backdrop of the warm, familiar space they called home. What do we do? Lily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Sarah straightened up, flipping the lock open carefully. We face it, she said, trying to anchor her own nerves. Together. As Sarah opened the door, the walls of their cozy home seemed to lean in, holding their breath as though expecting a storm. Mr. Steele stood there, clad in a wrinkled suit that clung to his frame like the shadows that surrounded him. His eyes darted from Sarah to Lily, a smirk creeping across his face, sharper than the suits he wore. "Hello, ladies," he began, his tone unnervingly smooth. "I thought we might have a little chat." "What do you want?" Lily asked, her voice growing steadier with her resolve. "Just checking in on my tenants," he replied nonchalantly, but the gleam in his eyes told a different story. "Believe me, I'm just here to help. Trust me, it's best if we can come to an understanding." Understanding. The word dripped from his lips like honey, but Lily could taste the bitterness it truly held. She took a step closer to her mother, feeling the protective warmth radiating from her. "Help?" Sarah's voice trembled. "Is that what you call intimidation?" "It's better to work on this together before it gets messy," he warned, his gaze sharp and penetrating, setting her nerves on edge. Messy, that was the last thing they could afford. In the depths of her mind, doubts swirled, battling against the flicker of determination that had ignited before. If they had learned anything from the courtroom, it was that silence wouldn't shield them from the storm. "Lily," Sarah whispered, her motherly instinct urging her to stand tall despite the fear creeping into her chest. "Remember, we have people who support us now. We're not alone anymore." "What's this about, Mr. Steele?" "If you're done with your intimidation tactics, I suggest you leave," Lily interjected, surprising herself with the strength in her voice. It was as if the girl who felt vulnerable moments ago had transformed into something more fierce. "Bold move, young lady," he sneered. "But know this won't end well for you if you keep poking the bear." With that, he turned, leaving the door swinging slightly, his laughter echoing down the walkway, chilling Lily to the bone. "Did we just take a stand or did we poke the bear?" Lily questioned, her heart still racing. "I think we planted our feet," Sarah replied, a mixture of pride and fear glimmering in her eyes. "But this fight won't be easy, and I have a feeling he won't back down." Lily took a deep breath, her mind racing with thoughts of the upcoming workshop and all they had planned. With a surge of determination, she recognized an ember of fire stirring inside. "Then let us get ready. We'll get stronger, and we'll expose him." But as they closed the door, a new sense of unease settled over them. What if this was just the beginning of something much darker? Lily paced the living room, her mind swirling with what had just transpired. The hum of the old radiator was a steady reminder that life continued on, even as her heart thumped loudly in her chest. She could almost hear Mr. Steele's condescending laugh echoing in her ears, mingling with her fear. "Mom," she began, "what if he really tries to make things worse? I mean, what more could he do?" Sarah took a deep breath, folding her arms as she glanced out the front window, watching as the evening shadows danced in the fading light. "We'll adapt. We'll work on our plans. We need to be smart and prepared." Lily nodded, feeling the warmth of determination seep into her skin. They had a workshop scheduled for the weekend, a gathering intended to forge connections with others who had been wronged by Mr. Steele. It was important. They needed allies. "Maybe we could invite some of the people from the community center," Lily suggested, her brain ticking like a clock. "You know, the ones who've been through similar situations? They might have stories or strategies." "Exactly," Sarah exclaimed, turning back to face her daughter. "There's strength in numbers. If we share our experiences, we might find the courage to really stand up to him." The thought of others joining their fight invigorated Lily. But beneath that excitement lay a gnawing anxiety. It seemed too easy to hope, and too risky to act. Would they truly come together for change, or was it just wishful thinking? "Can we really do this, Mom?" she asked, her voice barely more than a whisper. "Of course we can. We're stronger than we think," Sarah replied, the confidence in her voice stretching out like warm sunshine. But we need to be careful. Mr. Steele won't go down without a fight. Lily felt a resolve solidifying inside her. The fear faced could be transformed into action. She grabbed her notebook and sketched out a rough plan for the workshop. Let us make a list of everyone we want to invite. Old friends, neighbors, anyone who might be willing to share, she suggested, her pen scratching excitedly against the pages. Great idea, Lily. Sarah leaned over to peer at the list, adding names as they brainstormed together. For the first time in weeks, a sense of unity flowed between them like a protective shield against the looming darkness. As they worked, the weight of the world outside receded, replaced by the bubbling energy of shared purpose. The house felt alive with determination, fueled by the many stories yet to be told. Just as they finished jotting down the last names, the doorbell chimed again, sending a jolt through them. The warm glow of their plans was suddenly pierced by a sharp chill creeping back in. Who could that be? Sarah whispered, her eyes fixating on Lily, who felt a knot tighten in her stomach. Do you think it's him again? Lily asked, anxiety bubbling back to the surface. Her mother shook her head slowly. Let us just be cautious. They approached the door together, hearts pounding in sync. Sarah peeked through the peephole, her expression morphing from cautious curiosity to complete surprise. It's Mrs. Thompson," she exclaimed, opening the door wide. The elderly woman stood there, her silver hair shining in the soft evening light. "I heard about your little standoff with Mr. Steele," she said with a reassuring smile. "I wanted to see if you two needed any support." Hope blossomed in Lily's chest, but just as quickly, worry pricked at her. Could they trust her? "Absolutely, we would love your support," Sarah said, her voice steady. "Good," Mrs. Thompson replied, her eyes gleaming. "I know a lot about Mr. Steele, and I think it's time he faced his reckoning." As they invited her in, Lily felt the tide turning. Perhaps it really was possible to change things, to gather the courage needed to fight back. But a lingering question tugged at her mind: would they have enough strength when truly tested? What if this was just about confronting Mr. Steele, but uncovering secrets that threatened to unravel the very fabric of their community? Lily felt a rush of warmth as Mrs. Thompson stepped inside, her presence almost electric, buzzing with a potential for change. The air seemed to shift, as if the walls themselves leaned in, eager to listen. "Sit down, Mrs. Thompson, please," Sarah urged, motioning toward the cozy couch, still a little worn but filled with the echoes of countless cups of tea and laughter. As the elderly woman settled in, Lily couldn't help but study her. There was an air of wisdom about her, like she carried the burden of years yet wore it lightly. "Tell us what you know about Mr. Steele," Lily said, the words tumbling out with eagerness. Mrs. Thompson's eyes sparkled with a mixture of amusement and seriousness. "Ah, that one. He has a reputation, doesn't he? Always slipping through the cracks of the law. But trust me, he has secrets, and secrets can be powerful weapons." "Secrets?" Lily's curiosity piqued, her heart raced. Who wouldn't want to know the vulnerabilities of the very man who threatened them? "Yes," Mrs. Thompson mused, looking off into the distance as if gathering her thoughts like fallen leaves. "He's been cooking the books in this town for years. And when people start to dig, like you two are doing, he tends to get a little frantic." Lily and Sarah exchanged glances, and in that moment, something monumental shifted between them like a bond tying them closer, sealing their desperation with hope. "Frantic how?" Sarah pressed, her voice steady but laced with urgency. "Let us just say he can be dangerously manipulative. If he sees his control slipping, he might lash out at anyone he thinks is a threat," Mrs. Thompson replied, her tone turning serious. "I've seen him come after people in ways you wouldn't imagine." Lily felt her stomach twist at the thought. "But if we go through with the workshop and invite others?" Mrs. Thompson held up a hand gently. "You need to be prudent. Speak to those you trust. Mr. Steele likes to prey on fear. If he senses you gathering allies, he may strike back." Then we need a solid plan, Lily stated, newly fueled by the challenge. We can't let fear push us down. The golden hour light poured in through the window, casting a warm glow around the room. Ideas flowed freely among them, mixing concerns with a flickering hope. They began brainstorming strategies for the weekend. Who would lead discussions? What topics would resonate most? How could they be proactive? As minutes turned to hours, laughter began to punctuate their serious discussions, fragments of joy piercing through the heaviness of their situation. It felt good. It felt hopeful, but as Mrs. Thompson stood to leave, taking extra care to tuck her coat around her, the weight of reality pressed back upon them like a heavy curtain. "I've arranged to meet some folks from the community center on Saturday evening," she said, meeting Lily's gaze. "I think it would do you good to join. You need to hear their stories. You'll see that you're not alone." Lily nodded, resolve thickening in her chest. "We'll be there. Together." As Mrs. Thompson shuffled out the door, Lily's mind raced. The weekend workshop was only 2 days away, and now with more people involved, the risk and the potential for change seemed larger than ever. "I just hope we're ready," Sarah said as she closed the door, a shadow darkening her features. "What do you mean?" Lily asked, tilting her head. "I mean, what if Mr. Steele finds out? What if things don't go as we hope? The consequences could be bigger than we anticipated." Lily's heart raced, a mix of anticipation and dread filling her. "But we can't turn back now. We have to do this," she replied, her voice firmer than she felt. The gravity of their upcoming confrontation hung heavily in the air, tangible and terrifying. They were embarking on something that could change everything. But as Lily laid in bed that night, questions swirled through her mind like autumn leaves. What would happen when they confronted Mr. Steele? Would they be strong enough to face the truth, whatever it might reveal? In the dim light, she whispered to herself, "We have to fight for what's right. Would it be enough?" And as she drifted to sleep, a chilling uncertainty wrapped itself around her heart like a shroud. What secrets was Mr. Steele hiding, and how far would he go to protect them? Lily woke the next morning, the early sunlight casting stripes across her bedroom floor. She rubbed her eyes, shaking off the remnants of sleep, but the weight of yesterday's discussions lingered like a fog in her mind. Today was the day they would finalize details for the workshop, and she felt a thrill of nerves ripple through her. Sarah was already in the kitchen, the sound of coffee brewing filling the air. When Lily walked in, she found Sarah stirring a bowl of pancake batter with an absent gaze. "Morning," Lily said softly, sensing the tension that still hung between them. "Morning," Sarah replied, managing a weak smile. "I was just thinking about how we can make this workshop engaging. We need everyone to feel the weight of what we're up against, but also the strength in our unity." Lily watched her friend, admiration swelling in her chest. "That's exactly it. We need to show them they're not alone. It's like we're not just fighting for ourselves, we're fighting for everyone who has been silenced." They spent the morning meticulously crafting their plan, chatting over breakfast as if it were a normal day. But the calmness felt like a thin veneer over the storm brewing just outside their door. Later that afternoon, they needed to gather supplies and reach out to others. As they left, Lily found herself peering down the street, half expecting to see Mr. Steele lurking in the shadows. The tension gripped her heart tightly. What if he already knew? But she straightened herself, reminding herself of Mrs. Thompson's words. They couldn't let fear blind them. The community center bustled with life, a hub of stories and faces. As they entered, a familiar warmth enveloped them, but their mission brought a tightness to their chests. They approached the tables filled with sign-up sheets and handouts, their hearts racing with anticipation. "Let's try to gather people right away," Sarah suggested, a spark igniting in her eyes. As they walked over to a nearby group, Lily suddenly felt someone watching her. Her gaze flickered to the corner where she spotted a figure, a tall man in a dark coat and a hat that shadowed his face. A flash of panic surged through her. Was it him? Who is that? She whispered to Sarah, but before her friend could respond, the man turned abruptly, disappearing into the throng of people. Lily shook it off but couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. They pushed through the crowd, first introducing themselves to potential attendees, weaving stories of hope among the fear of Mr. Steele's looming presence. "Together we can be stronger," Lily said, her voice ringing out with conviction. "We have to trust each other." And one by one, they witnessed nods of agreement, sparks of courage igniting in the faces around them. Just as they were beginning to feel a sense of unity emerge, a phone buzzed in Sarah's pocket, shattering the moment. Sarah pulled it out and stared at the screen, her expression shifting from confusion to horror. "It's my brother," she said, her breath quickening. "He saw Mr. Steele. He's asking me to come home. Now." Lily's heart sank. "What do we do? Do we go? What if it's a trap?" Sarah's eyes flashed with panic, and in that moment, uncertainty clung to them both like a vine, thick and suffocating. "What if they need us?" Lily countered, her mind racing. Facing each other, a shared understanding passed between them. They couldn't just take a step back. "Not now. Let us stick together, but I don't like it." "We might need to be ready for anything," Sarah finally said, determination hardening her voice. They exchanged a nod before pounding out a few final words of encouragement to the growing crowd. With a final glance shared between them, they set off, urgency pulling them toward the uncertainty ahead. What awaited them exactly, and as they stepped out into the chilled air, a new question nestled in their minds: would standing up lead them to victory, or would it unravel everything they fought for? As they stepped out, the cool breeze cut through the urgency of the moment, sending a chill down Lily's spine. She could feel the weight of Sarah's anxious thoughts pressing against her own. They walked side by side, the distance to Sarah's home stretching out like a long road ahead, filled with unknowns. "What if we just call him?" Lily suggested, trying to keep her voice steady. "Your brother, I mean. Maybe he can tell us more. We don't have to walk into a trap blind." Sarah shook her head, her brow furrowed. "He might not have time to explain. Mr. Steele could be watching. We can't risk him getting hurt because of us." Lily took a deep breath. "But what if he really needs us?" The thought tightened her chest. They had come so far, and the battle against Mr. Steele felt more daunting than ever. With every shadow they passed, she imagined it was him lurking, waiting to strike. The road widened as they turned onto the quieter block where Sarah lived. A few sun-drenched houses lined the street, the warmth of their colors betraying the tension that pressed upon them. Sarah hesitated at the gate, looking back at Lily. "I just don't know what to expect," Sarah said, biting her lip. The vulnerability in her voice echoed in Lily's heart. It reminded her of why they were embarking on this mission in the first place, the very idea of being silenced too. "We'll take it step by step," Lily reassured her. "We've faced worse. Besides, remember we're not alone." "You're right," Sarah nodded, but her deep-set worry lingered. They crossed the threshold, and Lily felt a strange sense of foreboding wash over her. Inside, Sarah's house felt eerily quiet. "Sam!" she called, her voice trembling as they stepped into the living room. The curtains were drawn tight, soaking up the light but casting long shadows that felt oppressive. From the kitchen, a muffled response came. "In here." Lily followed close behind Sarah, heart racing. What had Sam seen? They pushed through the doorway, and there he was, leaning over the kitchen table, phone in hand, his eyes wide with fear. "You won't believe this," he said breathlessly. "Mr. Steele was at the park. I thought I lost him, but he was just waiting. He didn't see me, but I could feel him watching." The air thickened, uncertainty stinging like a freshly cut wound. "What do you mean?" Sarah pressed, looking straight into his eyes. "Somebody else was with him. A woman," he breathed, fear making him tremble. She was just standing there. Like she was watching for someone. Lily's heart dropped. This wasn't just about them anymore. It was bigger, darker. Each tick of the clock echoed in her ears as they stood suspended in fear, thoughts racing. What do we do? Sarah asked, glancing at Lily, eyes pleading for a solution. Lily thought of the workshop, the plans, the courage they had tried to instill in others. We can't let fear take hold of us. We need to alert the others. We need safety in numbers. Sam looked between them, fear still flickering on his face. But what if it's too late? Sarah took a deep breath, steadying herself. We can't let it be too late. As they discussed their next steps, a sudden noise at the window made them all freeze. A sound, just faint enough to be missed, but undeniable in its implication. Lily's heart raced as she turned her gaze to the window, unsure of what might be lurking just outside. They moved cautiously toward the glass, dread pooling in the pit of her stomach. The world outside felt monstrous, the shadows hinting at something waiting just out of sight, and in that moment, she knew whatever they were facing was going to force them to confront their deepest fears. Would they be ready, or was this the moment everything changed? What would happen if they stood their ground? The sound outside swelled, ghostly and quiet, yet it seemed to gnaw at them with urgency. Lily's breath caught in her throat, and everything about the moment felt charged, electrified with tension. She exchanged a glance with Sarah and Sam. They all instinctively understood. Whatever was out there, it wasn't friendly. Shouldn't we move? Sam whispered, his eyes darting nervously to the door. Lily nodded, gripping Sarah's arm tightly. We can't show fear. We need to act. They crept toward the window, forming a tight circle. Heartbeats drummed in unison, each pounding pulse echoed the dread pooling deep in their chests. The afternoon sun felt distant and insignificant now as shadows lengthened on their porch. Lily's fingers brushed the curtain, and with one swift motion, she pulled it aside. The world beyond was distorted, an unwelcome array of light and dark that felt like a glimpse into another realm. Standing just a few feet from the house, a figure remained shrouded in shadow. The woman Sam had mentioned wore a long coat that billowed with the wind, her face obscured. But it was her posture that held their attention, a stillness that seemed unnatural, almost predatory. Who is she? Sarah's voice trembled, barely a whisper. I don't know, Lily replied, eyes narrowing. But she's with steel. We can't let her see us. What if she knows we're here? Sam's voice broke, panic surging through him. Lily's mind raced. Then we need to get out of here. We can't let her inform Steele about us. The urgency in her voice pushed them into action. They withdrew from the window, retreating back into the kitchen, hearts thudding in their chests like war drums. Can we call for help? Sam asked, but the words barely left his mouth before Lily shot him a look. No, we can't risk her hearing, she insisted. We need a plan. Desperation washed over them as they huddled together. The love that bound them didn't feel strong enough in that moment, not against the fear and uncertainty looming right outside. Maybe we can sneak out the back. Sarah suggested, but her voice barely carried the hope they needed. Lily grasped Sarah's shoulder, her gaze steady. We can do this together. We need to get to Paul and the workshop. He'll know what to do. He can help us rally everyone. With a nod of determination, they reached the back door, each step a testament to their bravery. Lily peered out, checking for any signs of danger, her heart threatening to burst from her chest as she turned the handle. Okay, on 3, she breathed, deciding to take the reins. 1, 2, 3. They dashed through the door, the air outside crisp against their skin. The backyard felt larger than ever, shadows loomed like monsters waiting to pounce. They sprinted across the grass, adrenaline driving them forward, every instinct telling them to run faster. Suddenly, the sound of a twig snapping sent them freezing in place. Lily spun around, unable to shake the feeling of being hunted. The woman, was she following them? Keep moving. Sarah urged, her eyes wide with fear. They pressed onward, sprinting down the alley behind the houses, the weight of uncertainty lifting slightly as they raced away from the danger. Lily's mind swirled with thoughts. They were off to warn others, yet she couldn't shake the fear that they might already be too late. Each step felt like a leap into the unknown. Would they reach safety, or was the woman just waiting to catch up with them? Just as they turned the corner, Lily glanced back one last time, and there she was. The woman stood eerily still at the end of the street, shadows masking her gaze but somehow feeling like they were piercing through the dark. Why was she just standing there, watching them? Run! Lily yelled, urgency pouring from her mouth. In that moment of escape, leaving the darkness behind, they realized their battle had just begun, and the consequences of their actions might be far greater than they anticipated. What were they running toward, and what awaited them in the shadows? As they sprinted down the winding alley, the sound of pounding footsteps behind them echoed like thunder. Lily felt the burn in her legs, the gnawing panic deep in her gut. Faster! She yelled, her heart racing as they rounded another corner. Each corner felt like a leap into the unknown, the familiar streets morphing into treacherous paths filled with shadows. The image of the woman lingered in Lily's mind, an ominous specter poised to strike. We have to warn everyone, she urged, vision narrowing on the community center just ahead. When they reached the center, the door loomed large and welcoming, almost like a sanctuary through the chaos. Open it! Sarah gasped, pushing against it as panic fueled her strength. Inside, the warmth wrapped around them, but the uncertainty of their safety lingered in the air like clouds that refused to dissipate. Rushing to the main hall, Lily's breath hitched in her throat as she scanned the crowd gathering for the workshop. People moved about, unaware of the lurking danger. Paul! She called out, spotting the facilitator near the podium, his reassuring smile instantly calming. He turned, concern shadowing his features at the sight of their frantic arrival. What happened? He asked, straightening up, sensing the tension sparking in the room. Lily took a step forward, adrenaline heightening every word. We saw Mr. Steele and someone with him. We think they're watching us. We can't let them intimidate everyone. We need to warn the community. The murmurs around her shifted from casual chatter to alarmed whispers, the energy in the room shifting. What do you mean? Paul pressed, urgency lining his voice. There's a woman. She was outside my house, watching, Sarah chimed in, her voice steadying with the unity shared among them. We can't let them undermine what we're trying to build here. They want to silence us. The crowd quieted, faces turning to each other, exchanging glances filled with fear and recognition. They all had their stories, struggles lining the unspoken truths of their hearts. What do we do now? Paul asked, taking charge. We organize. We can't let fear rule us. As people began to rally together, Lily felt the warmth of determination ignite in their shared resolve. This wasn't just their fight anymore, it was a collective stand against the shadows threatening their community. The room buzzed with life as people broke into groups, sharing stories and strategies, unveiling the fabric of their realities. Lily felt the heartbeat of unity pulsing through everyone. They were allies now, each voice strengthening the weave of bravery and support. Hours passed, and as Lily stepped outside for a breath of fresh air, she felt a glimmer of hope glistening against the fading light. The workshop had transformed into something much larger, a movement blossoming even in the darkest of moments. Together, they were stronger, ready to stand against Mr. Steele. Are we really doing this? Sarah asked as she joined Lily outside, her voice a soft admixture of pride and residual fear. I mean, can we truly take him on? With conviction swelling in her chest, Lily replied, yes. We're not just fighting for us anymore, we're fighting for everyone. For all those who have been silenced. Together, we'll rise. Just then, the community center doors burst open with Paul leading a group back into the sunlight. We've decided to confront Mr. Steele, he declared, the confidence in his voice resonating like a rallying cry. We're calling on everyone. We'll go to his office, show we won't be intimidated. We need to stand united." Cheers erupted in the crowd, their spirits lifting the weight of despair that had loomed over them for so long. It felt like a newfound purpose, a surge of resilience firing within. As they prepared to march, Lily's heart swelled with a mixture of hope and determination. Her family would stand by her, her community rallied around her, each step marking defiance against darkness. And in that moment, the shadows didn't feel so overwhelming. Even the uncertainty of what lay ahead was a mere flicker against the blaze of courage ignited within this collective spirit. "Let us go!" yelled Paul as the crowd surged forward, each person ready to fight not just for homes and rights but for the intangible ties binding them together. As they made their way towards Mr. Steele's office, the weight of fear lifted. The sun broke through the clouds, illuminating their path like a beacon. They were moving forward together, unbroken, and united. They had seen the darkness, confronted it, and now they were ready. This was not just the beginning of a fight. This was the dawn of their community's strength, a force that could no longer be silenced. Lily took a deep breath, her heart fluttering with anticipation. They would overcome. They would rise. And as they marched ahead, a sacred promise lingered in the air. The fight for their homes was the fight for their love, their family, and their unity. They were warriors of hope. Let us do this. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support and keep up with their journey. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread the word. Comment below with your reactions about this powerful ending and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Fight together.